Welcome to your comments from the Manchester United game. Sorry we didn't have one last week. We just didn't have time to do it. But we're back this week with your comments. You've left your comments on the 3 videos we've put out so far. Looking back at the 1-1 draw with Manchester United at Goodison Park. Let's get straight into it. William McGuinness says, that was an improvement at least. Thought Lukaku's lack some service in the game. If you feed him, he might score. Simples. Get a good result at Watford, and it could give us confidence going towards the Arsenal and Liverpool games. Carl H says, improved performance, but still disappointed at Ronald Koeman's youth policy. Good to see Holgate came on and not look out of place. A bit unlucky not to get more in the end. Yes, I thought Holgate was fantastic, and it just basically made a nonsense of what Ronald Koeman had said last week. David Embleton says, thought at the start we looked like we'd lined up a 4-4-2, but went back to default. Stekelenburg needs fucking for the goal. Holgate was brilliant. Morales did well, and Garner got better the longer the game went on. Awful tackle on Garner. Defo red. Glad we got a point in the end. Cleverly should be selling programs because he's shite. Koeman has to bring in at least 6 players over the next two transfer windows. I think we need 10 players. Whip It Good says, I honestly don't see why people are saying Lukaku was bad. Yeah, he wasn't great with his link-up play, but he actually kept their defence occupied and bullied them in the first half. And in the second, I thought he really ran himself into the ground. Whenever he lost the ball, he ran, he got it back, and more often than not, won it back. I was sitting low in the ground, so might not have gotten a good picture. Also, Mori might have been a bit dodgy today, but he dealt with Ibrahimovic well. He never went missing and was up for the job. Jagielka today would have had a nightmare. Joe Fairfield says, draw, a fair result. Both teams didn't do enough to win it. Thought our subs changed it for us. So much better playing 2 up front. Garner was class. Holgate was class. Garner was immense. Can't do it on his own. Needs help. I2 Shear says, shocking that we finally went 4-4-2 with Holgate and Valencia and we get results. It's only what Toffee TV have been saying in the last few weeks. Holgate looked amazing. He dominated Martial on every ball. Steck seemed to have another random shocking decision like he usually does every 4 or 5 games or so. Overall, I think it was a fair result and was happy the way we played in the second half. Loved the energy that Valencia showed as well. When he saw him play today, I saw a lad that wants to earn more time playing. The dude had a crazy motor today. And what more can I say about Guy that hasn't been said already? Brilliant again and man of the match for me. He was man of the match for a lot of people who've done a poll on Facebook last night, and he just was runaway leader. Let's see. Aaron B123 says, I think we should play exactly the same shape as we did at the end with the same players. Wouldn't change a thing from that. We have more attacking options, and the midfield still didn't lack options. Yeah, okay, grammar. Interesting one from Gary Cargill. Thanks for writing in, mate. You always have decent opinions. Toffee TV are in danger of needing to prove themselves right on this Davies thing. Holgate was great when he came on. Was fantastic at the start of the season. I think comparing the development to Davies doesn't really make sense. He's older by a good and important 2 years. He's also played over 20 games for Barnsley in the league. Also isn't required to drive the game from centre half or right back like he would in centre midfield. I love to see Davies come in for 15-10 minutes at the end of the game to support the development and see where it goes from there. But I wouldn't pin my hopes on the kid being the Wizard of Oz who's going to get us home. Dishing brains, heart and bollocks out, by the way. I'm also blaming Mori as much as Steck for the goal. Lazy bastard. Could have got there better though. Gonna take time. All this need to start faster still and much more aggressive and play like we do when we're chasing games from the very start. Now, Guy, on the Tom Davies thing, I know we bang the drum for the kid here massively because we think he's a good player, and you can't tell me that Tom Cleverley did anything amazing in that game that Tom Davies couldn't do. Now, we've seen Tom Davies in the Premier League as well. In fact, I haven't really seen Tom Davies in the under-23s at all. I'm basing all my opinions on what I've seen of him in Premier League games. So that's the way I look at it. And I've seen him play well in Premier League games. So, you know, and Holgate, yeah, is more developed and he come from another team. But no one can tell me that Tom Davies, you know, couldn't have done any worse than what Tom Cleverley did yesterday. So that's the way I look at it. And he's also been amazing for the under-23s. And at some point you've just got to throw them in, sink or swim. Callum96 says, I was worried initially when I saw Cleverley was in the starting lineup and Lukaku was out on his own again, but we managed to grind out results in the end. Thank God they took Lukaku off the penalties and let Baines take them for once, because it was basically a guaranteed goal when he steps up to the plate. Good to see Koeman drop Jagielka, because if we had to have started, the outcome could have been different. Also, yeah, what a shit referee. Let's have a look. Chris Wilson says, I'm seriously worried about Barkley. The cameras caught him after the third sub went on, and he sat there with his head in his hands. I don't know about him. I worry he could crumble. Listen, if he was disappointed he never got on, fair enough if he wants to play. If he can't handle that fact, then that might be one of his problems, and that might be a reason why he won't become a top player, if he can't handle those tough mental situations. You know, maybe he just needs to grow up a little bit. I don't know, but that's my feeling on it. Kevin Foley says, wasn't a great game in terms of quality, but at least we had some form of pulse. It was certainly better than the abysmal performance last week. Anyway, Kyle Dunn says, Garner was superb again. His first shot that was saved by De Gea was brilliant. And the famous words of the great Mike Bassett, 4-4-2. We weren't great in the first half, but we were doing well. Just lacked that little bit of extra. Cleverly can be fucked off. He's lost swearing this week. He was diabolical. As soon as he went two up front, we looked incredible though. Play that lineup against the lesser sides and we'll smash them, and we'll do alright against the better teams at home. AW, whatever, said, seemed almost like we started with a 5 flat in midfield with Morales supporting Rom in the attack, but it wasn't until we fully committed to 4-4-2 with Valencia that we took control. Also seems like a no-brainer. Schneiderlin and Depay were nowhere near playing today, but both would slot right into our team. Positive game. Hope we keep building on this. Come on, you Blues. Few more. Let's have a little look. Man United fan says, 1986, Cappy says, Rojo and Barry both deserved red cards. The Barry challenge on Zlatan, was that a red card? The Rojo one on Ghana certainly was. Croatian Evertonian says, I thought that Murray had a good game, at least in the first half, but I guess you're right, he won a lot of duels but then lost the ball afterwards. Stephen Penton says, Lukaku should not be a target man, can't control the ball or hold it up. He should be dropping off and harassing players in pressing with our midfield and breaking with our counters. We need a number 9 who can outmuscle defenders and control the ball, hold up and pick a pass. I absolutely agree with you there, Stephen. Lukaku doesn't have that in his game, and we need someone who does have to get in his game to play up there. Jay Space says, Holgate looked a complete diamond from the second he came on, and Garner's a star as always. Shit that we had to concede from such a terrible mistake, but that is life. Thomas Turner says, the thing that scares me is that we were absolutely excellent for that last 15 minutes, but the only reason why Koeman put Holgate and Valencia came on is because Coleman and Balassi got injured. Please, Koeman, watch Toffee TV and take some notes. Spot on, Thomas. Okay, last couple. Grizz Frank says, Coleman saved the day again. Last time he saved us was scoring. This time he saved us by saving a goal. What a class player, unsung hero. When did he save a goal? Going off, he saved us anyway. Charles Hildenbrand says, not to stray from today's performance, but my God, Mourinho is such a bastard. Saying every team United draw against lucky, leave it to him to drive a team that has Zlatan, Pogba, De Gea, Rooney, Schweini just above mid-table. Coward, honestly, can't own up to his own mistakes or his players. James Dunlop, last one, much better performance than last week. No Jags, which is good. What the fuck is Stecklenberg doing coming out for the goal? But a fair result in the end. Ajissa Ghana Gay is better than sex, no doubt. James, I really hope your missus isn't watching this video, because you will be getting binned. Thanks for everyone for the comments. Sorry we didn't read yours out. Keep putting your comments on all our videos. Great little community in there. Love having a little look at what you're saying and ripping me to bits and saying lovely things about Basil. He's the housewife's favourite, isn't he? I'm demonised. I'm good enough. I'm big enough and old enough to cope with that. But keep saying nice things about Baz, because otherwise, I'm not sure he can take the criticism, But thanks for watching Toffee TV. Look out for all our other shows. The final word later on. See you later.